wanted to congratulate you on the album. It's a real masterpiece. I guess you're very proud of it.
That's an interesting question because proud. A lot of musicians, writers, artists, filmmakers take pride in their work. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I've ever been proud of anything I've done. Like there's some music I've made that I like. There's some music I've made that I don't like as much. There's some music I've made that I am really grateful for the fact that I've been able to make it. But
which word would you use then to describe how you feel about Reprise, the album?
I guess it would be complicated because when I listen to the album, of course, I'm always being self-critical and thinking what I could have done better. You know, thinking like, oh, well, this could have been mixed better. This could have been recorded better. I wish I'd sung this better. Why did I do that? With some objectivity, I actually do emotionally love a lot of, the music on the album definitely resonates with me emotionally.
I have a question, a musical question we're doing a thing here on Studio Brussels. We have a special Easter chart wherein we play the 666 best metal and heavy guitar songs. And I was wondering which would be Moby's favorite hard rock song.
It's funny because when you said you were doing an Easter special, my first thought was like, how do you do, is there even such a thing as Easter music? But like 666 metal songs, that's really funny. Clearly you couldn't do that in the United States. Like the Christians would attack you and burn your house down. So that's a hard one. Favorite metal song? Okay. I mean, I listen to classical music, punk rock, other types as well, but I love good speed metal. And if I had to pick a favorite band, it would be the band Propane. But actually, I mean, the obvious for me, the kings of metal will always be Pantera. And so if I had to pick a favorite Pantera song for your playlist, I'd go with War Nerve.
Perfect.
I think it's the second song on Great Southern Trendkill.
Okay.
It's the meanest song. I mean, don't even read the lyrics. The lyrics are horrifying. But it's the meanest, most nihilistic song they ever wrote and recorded. And I actually had the honor of sort of playing a cover version of it with Dimebag Darrell before he died.
Wow. Okay.
So sorry for my long-winded answer. War Nerve by Pantera.
Moby, we're going to get your fans in. They're going to be real any minute now. I was just wondering, is there anything, like what's the worst thing a Moby fan can do in a Zoom call?
I mean, a Zoom call, there isn't, I mean, I guess the worst thing would be to like kill an animal on their end. You know,
we have civilized people listening to,
or maybe someone could say, like on the Zoom call, they could say that they're actually in my house and I look over my shoulder and they're standing there with like a bloody knife. Like that would be pretty bad. But apart from that, I mean, Zoom is generally pretty safe. Like you can't catch COVID-19 from Zoom. You know, no one can punch you in the face on Zoom. So I don't know that there's that much they could do that would be terrible.
Okay, I think that's the sign to let them in. We're all safe. Hey, Arthur, you're the first one who gets to ask this question to Moby. So go ahead.
Okay, so then I had one question that I would like to ask you. And so my question is, what are your plans for the near future? And are you planning on coming on tour in Belgium?
My plans, I mean, if I'm being honest, every single day of my life is exactly the same. Basically, my life, if anyone else looks at my life, I'm so boring. You know, I don't take holidays. I don't take days off. I don't, you know, I largely, especially during the pandemic, don't really meet up with other people. I just stay home and work and occasionally and go hiking across the street. And as far as touring goes, I mean, I really like being home because I can work on music and sleep in my bed. Yeah. But at some point, I figure over the next couple of years, I'll have to go on tour again. I just don't want to do it for the wrong reasons. Because as we know, like there's so many musicians who need to tour, and I don't want to criticize them or take anything away from them. But then there are the musicians who tour because they're sort of trying to hold on to some aspect of their youth and adolescence, you know, and I don't want to be that. You know, I don't want to show up wearing black fake leather clothes and black sunglasses pretending I'm someone I'm not. So I'd love to come back and play music, but it might, I don't know when. So sorry for rambling on, but I just don't know when that might be.
No.
Yeah, no, okay.
If you plan on like scheduling a tour, just make sure you think of Belgium and your.
I mean, every tour I've ever done has basically gone through, you know, like, because Belgium is not just a wonderful place, it's also a very easy place to tour because it's in the middle of everything. Every musician on the planet who goes on tour goes through Belgium. You know,
that's because we're the best audience, Moby.
Well, there's that too. I mean, the audiences are wonderful, but it's also just like, especially with like Eurostar, like it's just, I mean, that, you know, like wake up in London, get on a train, play a show in Belgium. Like it's just so civilized.
Well, perfect. Thank you so much for your question.
Thank you, Moby.
Yeah, thank you. And I hope that the rest of your pandemic experience is okay. And I hope that your brother continues to feel better.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, I'm gonna ask Sharon, who wants to ask a question about Belgium and Moby.
Hi, Moby. Hi, Eva. Eva already asked it about Belgium. I remember I was at, how do I call it, the gallery in Ghent, where you put your collection of photos you took on tour from the album Destroyed. And I am wondering if you still remember something about that. You still remember when you went to Belgium, when you did the DJ set, that was it at Avenue L in Ghent.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I remember I stayed in a beautiful hotel. I don't remember what it was called, but it was so charming. And also I realized in the many, many times I'd been to Belgium, I'd never been to Ghent, or at least never been there during the day. And I remember a long time ago, I think 1990 or 1991, some New York DJs were telling me, they're saying, if you ever go to Belgium, you need to go to Ghent because it's so beautiful. And so I remember when I went there for the gallery show and the DJing thing, and the DJing I remember was so hot, like it was in this downstairs area and it was so crowded and so hot. I remember being concerned. I was like, if something goes wrong, we're all going to die, you know.
It really was.
But yeah, it was just so interesting that my friends in 1991 told me to go to Ghent because it was so beautiful. But then the first time I went there was almost 30 years later.
Sharon, thanks for your question. I'm gonna skip to Philippe. Moby is the third biggest Moby fan here in Belgium, and he wants to show you something to start with, I think, Philippe.
Yeah. As you can see, Moby. Hi, Moby. Hi, Eva. I'm the oldest fan here in the room, I think. When I look at Sharon and Arthur, and I was wondering, are you still interested in house music and dance music as such? Do you follow any producers, DJs, or something else? Is it still something where your mind is in?
Yeah, I mean, I still love electronic music, house music, dance music, drum and bass. I mean, minimal techno. The one thing I will say is I have become incredibly ignorant regarding the names of the producers. House music was invented in 1987, and it hasn't changed that much, but it's still wonderful. You know, the BPMs haven't changed that much. The drum patterns haven't changed that much. And somehow it's become this global language. And it's really kind of amazing to me, because I remember when I bought my first house music record.
Which was?
Well, so I was
You remember?
A friend of mine who was in Ireland at the time had bought a music magazine, and they wrote about this new genre called house music. And we didn't know what it was because this was before the internet. This was, like there was no way to hear it. So we didn't actually know what house music was. So I spent a couple of months going to record stores in New York and Connecticut, asking people in record stores, do you have quote unquote house music? And they all said no. And then finally at a record store in New Haven, Connecticut called Cutler's, I asked the DJ, I said, do you have house music? And he was this wonderful older gay Black man. And he said, of course we do. And he showed me, and they had a whole house music section, which at that time had every house 12-inch ever made, which was about 50 records.
Wow.
So I bought 5 or 6 of these records and took them home and immediately fell in love with them. Obviously, Marshall Jefferson House Music Anthem or Adonis, No Way Back. Like these were, the first house records that I ever really got. Okay, well, good luck with the rest of the pandemic. And thank you for arranging this. This was really fun.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Bye,
much.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Studio Brussel.